Now, I think the second week drop off is going to be huge. And it comes to it comes to a few reasons, but one of the reasons is what you just alluded to, is people being really quite racist in defending this film to people that just don't like it for valid reasons. And it is racism, what people are saying. I've been called a colonizer. That's racist, it is. You've been called, well, do you want to say the stuff you've been called? I mean, it's pretty
Oh yeah, I mean, just
disgusting.
like a white passing Latino, me and Mexican Iron Man, for having our opinions and hanging out with Mr. H or with it Midnight's Edge, that we should be embarrassed because we're Latino. But obviously this
You're
comes
you're
out
not
when
real Latino, is what it is. That's the thing.
I'm not dark enough apparently to them. Um, but this only comes out when it's like a movie. We're talking about movies and TV. We're talking about entertainment, right? So if you don't kiss their ass or like it how you want, they want you to like it, and
Mm.
representation matters, and that's all that matters, then you're the problem. And so yeah, I guess I'm part of the problem. I'm happy to be here.
You are, you absolute fiend, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to
Fiend.
repeat the stuff that they've said because, as I
Yeah.
maintain, you will never hear me say anything racist on this channel. Like, I think racism is abhorrent. I think it's disgusting. I don't want to repeat the stuff that you've been called. It's awful. Um, just as it is some of the stuff that I've been called. It's disgraceful stuff, and that's why I think that the second week drop off is going to be huge. And I think let's talk about that first and foremost before we get on to your actual review of it, because as a Latino, I want your opinion on the film in and unto itself. I want you to spend some time on it, but I do think that the second week drop off is going to be huge, and I think a contributing factor of that is the sort of social stigma surrounding the film. You know, outside of the film itself, I don't think it has rewatch value, which we'll get onto anyway. But do you see any of the sort of social pressures of this film and the stigma and the individuals sort of defending it? Do you see that as a catalyst for a drop off being quite substantial?
Uh, there's so many reasons why this movie is failing.
Mm.
And I think the most telling is, the what's always been up front the last few years is they didn't recast T'Challa.
Yeah,
That's
there's
that's
a
that's
movement
it.
now, isn't there, on Twitter?
It's
Hashtag recast T'Challa.
yeah, this gentleman named Eman Reviews. I think he started about 2 years ago, and he's picked it up again. And he's been having some amazing panels,
Mm.
amazing talks, just on the absence of black men and sons in this. And that was such a focal point of honor and betrayal in the first Black
Mm.
Panther,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The
So
completely,
what?
yeah.
Well, so I was going to say, so why do you think that this film in particular is getting such vitriol? To any of its detractors, I don't remember. I remember there being a substantial amount for the first one.
Hmm.
I think the first one was particularly amazing or anything like that. And I said so in my review, I said it had awful CGI because it did. Like the final fight was that of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man level CGI. It was terrible stuff. And I remember getting abuse back then, but not to this degree. And I don't know whether that's a byproduct of the movie itself or a byproduct of the highly divisive sort of time that we live in, and the sort of tribalistic nature of everyone at this point in time. Everyone has a wedge right down the middle
Hmm.
of societies. It seems we're sort of drawing our lines, and the lines are being drawn across racial barriers nowadays. Do you see any of that? Is that your sort of perception on this? What do you think?
I mean, that's the age we're living in right now. People, there's a small contingency that has a loud mouthpiece that are just obsessed with the the exteriors, the skin, the gender. I don't know what. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Mm,
So when that's all that matters, we're seeing now with this movie. is that the story and the what could have been is completely set to the side. And so I was telling you that, so there's that whole detractors, right?
Mm,
They're just upset just because of T'Challa not being recast. Um, then there's the comic book purists that don't like the changes of Namor.
mm,
Then there's that group of Latinos, which I'm hearing more and more from them. They're not happy with this, with what they saw.
mm.
Um, and then there's people who are like, also as well, that just think it's a badly made film, and I
Yeah.
think it's incredibly long. And I don't think the word of mouth is good. I just sent you that note right now in the private chat. I don't know if you got to read it, but
Yeah. So you said Wakanda Forever dropped 73% on Monday to, what is that, 11 million domestic?
let me see.
So,
That's what yeah, 11 million. Yeah. So this
so you
is
say
from
it's
Valiant
going
Renegade. This is Valiant
to
Renegades.
800 million total run, might now be off the table. The film appears heavily front loaded beyond even what I had imagined.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I mean, this is going back to kind of what I was saying about its second week drop. I think the second week drop is going to be huge. I mean, we're in the second week, obviously, it's going. Um, but I think the second week
Mhm.
drop is going to be absolutely massive. And again, I'm going back to the sort of vitriol and nastiness that is coming from people that really like the film. Obviously, it's not everyone. I understand that,
Mhm.
but there does seem to be this sort of bizarre intrinsic defense. It's like a knee-jerk reaction that people are having to try and defend this film, and they're throwing out. And I think it's also their level of defense for this film is a projection of what's within the film as well, to a certain degree. Like there are lines of dialogue where they allude
Mhm.
to to white people being colonizers, which is a racist
Mhm.
term. In the film it's done as a joke. It still wouldn't be the same if I did it to a black person and called you a cotton picker, right? It wouldn't be laughed at in a film, certainly not in a Marvel film, and it probably wouldn't be entertained in modern day Hollywood. So there is
No.
an element of double standard there, but I do feel that the individuals really defending this film are projecting, that sort of racial divisiveness which is in the film outwards in its defense, hence being called, like you are being called, not white passing Latino. What even is that? I mean, what a pile of nonsense. Me being called a colonizer and all this stuff for simply saying, hey, this film's a bit overlong. Hey, I feel, the way they killed T'Challa wasn't particularly respectful. Hey, this is a plot hole. Like nothing racial about those things, and yet you get called racially, racial
Well,
slurs.
that's like it's an ignorant oxymoron, right? A white
Mm.
passing Latino.
Yeah,
Wow, what? Who comes up with these
Jesus.
things? Um, so yeah, no, I'm with you. I thought the second weekend was going to, hold pretty good.
Yeah,
But after seeing that note from Valiant and just really now the other people are speaking out about its problems, it's
yeah.
probably not going to do too well.
No, I don't think so. And I do think that second week drop is going to be um, a substantial drop off. And I think, again, it comes
Hmm.
down to quite a few things. Um, the film itself, the sort of general culture. I think the individuals that wanted to, like, desperately wanted to watch the film, I think they would have gone out and watched it. It doesn't really have that much of a rewatch value. I think there are certain individuals that I know have simply watched this film just to pay respects. Again,
Mm,
it goes to what I was saying to on the lead up to this film, is that I feel like this film has guilt tripped a bunch of people into viewing it because it is a tribute to Chadwick Boseman. And so it is Marvel profiting off of his death, because people that ordinarily wouldn't be going to watch it, and I've had comments from them, have
mhm,
now gone to watch it. But I think because the first week is full of all those people, and because it doesn't have that much rewatch value, I think it's going to be 60%, maybe even more as a drop off for its second week. I mean, what's your prediction for its second week drop off?
I mean, I thought percentage wise maybe 60, 65, but it's probably going to be higher. You
Oh,
know,
okay,
and
65. Wow, yeah, big prediction there then.
I think
Big prediction.
I thought, yeah, I don't see it making 800, much less, you know, maybe 600 million. It's made 350,
Mm.
what, 350 million worldwide?
So it's 330 million across the whole weekend. I don't know what it's taken in now. I'm not sure. I don't keep track of it outside of its sort of weekend runs.
Right, like
I,
Valiant
I
does.
total it up every single week, not day by day.
Hmm.
So it had crossed 330 million. 350 sounds like it might have done that for sure. You know, if it's
Okay.
done 11 million on a Monday, that's 340 odd plus
So
worldwide another
even if
10.
it
I could
doubles its
imagine
money,
350.
so Nate, even if it doubles it, it's only 700
Mm.
million, right? I mean,
Yeah,
is it
that
really going to do that?
well, so but even 700 million, so it had like a budget of 250 odd $1 million.
Yeah.
I know it had $100+ million
Hmm.
promotional campaign with other brands. That was revealed. I think it was in Deadline today. Did an article on it, so we know that there's at the bare minimum, you know, you're looking at just for argument's sake, $400 million for production marketing costs, right? But there'll be more because that's just brand deals. There'll be more on top of that, I would imagine.
Hmm.
So standard marketing up higher. You've got 40% theatre cuts on top of it. It has to make a lot of money to be considered
Yeah.
profitable.
Let
A
me.
lot of money. I don't think it's going to.
Well, that's just
In
the whole thing,
fairness,
right? There's, you know, without a true star,
mm.
right?
Well, that's the thing.
Whether it's a
Where's the
male,
lead? There is no
right?
lead.
Whether it's male or female, without a
Mm.
true leading star, who's going to come back to this?
Yeah.
And the word of mouth, you know, like the word of mouth, you know. So
Mm.